Driver's seat, we're going to take a look at this. It's the 2008 Acura RDX. Now, this vehicle has only been around a couple of years. First saw it in the 2006 New York Auto Show. It has some slight modifications for the 2008 model. Now, this is made in Marysville, Ohio, and is very similar in all its dimensions to the CR-V, although Acura claim it's built on a completely different platform.
Well, Acura can claim whatever they want. I can tell you the fact is that I like this vehicle. I liked it when it was debuted, and I like it now. Only slight modifications, as Nick said, for 2008. We'll go over those on the inside, some of the best electronic packages there is in the biz, and the fact that it's just a well-built car. Acura is the upscale division of Honda, and though it may be a little bit odorless and tasteless as far as styling and overall appeal to the masses, it is a great car with a great powertrain. Now let's check it out. Let's start under the hood.
So now we have the hood open in the 2008 Acura RDX. You can see in the engine compartment, it's the very first four-cylinder turbocharged engine that Acura have ever made, right, Dennis?
That's right. The four-cylinder under this car is the first one to use veritable valve technology and a veritable turbo system. There's a lot of fancy words and a lot of technology I can tell you about. It has veritable boost with the turbo and veritable valve lift. What does that mean to you? It has a high RPM push, 6,800 RPM redline, almost sports car-esque as far as its high RPM operating range, as well as 260 pounds-feet of torque down low. It gives you that low-end grunt that you don't normally associate with a four-cylinder. Now, we could talk about power and 0 to 60 times, but it comes down to the handling and the SH all-wheel drive system that's in the Acura. It not only processes the horsepower from front to rear, but side to side as it's needed. It comes down to this. The car feels very planted on the road, and it steers and drives where you point it. I know that sounds kind of rhetorical, but it comes down to if it does it in the snow and it does it on dry pavement, it gives you the best of both worlds. Great brakes, great handling, all wrapped into one package. When it comes to the looks of the RDX, it's kind of hard. It's kind of I'm of two minds. You know, I like the basics of the vehicle and I like the overall lines, but some of it doesn't seem to go together. The headlights, for instance, I love the way that these are designed. They're not only active as far as pointing where you need to in the dark, but they look like a fine watch when they look at the actual design. But some of the way that the lines just don't kind of match. It could be just me. Now, when you look at the car in black or you look at it in this dark blue, it's very appealing, but on the outside, it just looks like it's trying to be too much.
Acura at their design center have tried to maintain a specific look which stretches across their whole brand, and they've tried to put it in a vehicle which doesn't quite fit in the dimensions they're used to working in. So they've squeezed and they've pushed, and they've ended up with a car that looks like an Acura, but it's a sort of shape that they're not used to getting inside of. Now, this car does look fairly good from the back. It has a very nice wide stance on the back, the lights look good, and there's plenty of view outside of the window. As far as the sides are concerned, it's kind of barrelish on the sides, but there is some definition to it, and I think it does have a very unique and a very different kind of style.
Now that we're going to switch to the interior in this part of the review, it's so easy to see all the things that Acura does well. Now, Nick will talk a little bit about the back in just a second, but you got to realize that this is the best place to be in this car.
There's a few things in the back that I can point out. One of them, which is really major, is the amount of room in the back of this car. Dennis is comfortable in the front. I have extra legroom in the back here. Although I'm short and don't need as much legroom as somebody at 6 foot or 6'5", yes, I have plenty of what I need here in the back. The seats are comfortable, the seat belts are great, and also putting this seat down to use the whole back area is really easy. The bottoms of the back seat fold up and into the back of the front seats, and then it goes completely flat when you put these seats down in the back. It's also very roomy here in the back. There's a couple of things I don't want to miss up front. This has probably one of the most technologically advanced dashes and gadgets up front, and great little, I would say, about 2-inch speakers in the door quarter light. Those really add to the sound of this vehicle. Well designed, roomy. They've done a great job with this car.
I think Nick might have stole a little bit of my thunder in the back seat, but I have to obtain all the views that he has from the back and apply to the front. Now you take the little attributes that he talked about, the stereo equipment and the great navigation system, you put it into things like paddle shifters that are intuitive to the shifting patterns of the driver and other drivers, that it will shift hard when driven hard and it'll shift soft when you're just cruising about town. And I have to agree with Nick. It's the front feel of the car. It feels like you're in a sports car, but you're in a small SUV. As Nick mentioned, I have plenty of room in the front seat. I have plenty of room to stretch out my legs. I've got 4 or 5 inches of headroom above a small SUV, and I'm 6'2". It all comes to this. It's a great little sport utility if you're looking at it from what might be considered the beholder's eye, or at least the driver's eye.
So now we've looked around the outside of the 2008 Acura RDX. Dennis, give me 2 ups and 1 down for this vehicle.
Well, my ups would be the mechanical side of it first. This turbocharged 4-cylinder has so much power, but yet great fuel mileage. It's a great kind of have your cake and eat it too. The other side is the interior electronics. The navigation system, the overall HVAC, the heating and air conditioning controls all work so well together. I mean, yeah, you could say that the Honda or the Acura products are a little bit odorless and tasteless, kind of that vanilla, but you know what they do well? They integrate systems to make the driving experience easy, and I think drivers are going to look for that. My down might be, well, unless you get it in this nice blue or the jet black color, it's just not the most appealing small SUV. That's easy to say as a down because, like I said just a minute ago, it's all in the eyes of the buyer.
One of my ups is the mirroring of what Dennis said. It's the engine. That 4-cylinder turbo really makes a difference. If you have to travel long distances in the day or you do a lot of mileage, it really makes a difference by giving the power but not using that much gas. My other up for this vehicle, I would say, is the interior. The electronics especially are really nice and there's lots of them. I pretty much have a hard time finding anything that's missing in this car. My downside is also the electronics on the interior. Although they're functional, there's a lot of them, they don't really match in style. In fact, you can see different sections of the dash look like they came from different design studios. I think if they got a bit more of a flowing design on the outside and more on the inside, this car would be a real 5-star winner.
The 2008 Acura RDX comes standard with a 2.3-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine and a 5-speed automatic transmission. The base price was approximately $37,000. As tested price was not available at time of review. The EPA rating for city is 17 miles per gallon and 22 miles per gallon in the highway.
Here are the guys that make miles around possible. The Russ Auto Group, Baxter Auto Parts, Northside Ford, Ray Reese Dealerships, 4 Wheel Parts Performance Center, Grand Prix Imports, and J. Lee's Auto Group. Thanks, guys.